On this Tuesday night, Liberal staff grilled about foreign meddling allegations, their testimony about what they knew and when.
Can't confirm that a briefing did take place.
Round 2 in the race for the White House.
I'm running for re-election.
Confidence and concern about Joe Biden's bid for a second term. And making lifelong memories. 3 children see the world before they slowly lose their eyesight forever.
Global National with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Chris Galis.
Good evening and thanks very much for joining us. New developments tonight around a CSIS briefing given to Liberal officials during the 2019 election campaign. Top Liberal and Conservative campaign directors appeared before a Commons committee investigating allegations of foreign election interference. Pressure on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his government has steadily ramped up following allegations China tried to influence the outcome of the past 2 federal elections. And today, opposition MPs drilled down. Mackenzie Gray is following the details for us. Mackenzie, what stood out to you?
Well, Chris, it's the first time we've heard from senior Liberal Party staff about what they knew of allegations of electoral interference.
Welcome to Procedure and House Affairs.
The key question from opposition MPs: what happened during a CSIS briefing giving to top Liberal Party officials during the 2019 election?
Who were the senior Liberal Party officials who were part of this briefing?
Well, I'm not in a position where I can discuss the contents of briefings that were provided to the Liberal Party. We can confirm that a briefing did take place.
While the 2019 Liberal campaign director wouldn't share what CSIS told him, Global News has previously reported CSIS discussed then-candidate for Don Valley North Han Dong and his ties to Beijing with Liberal Party officials during the briefing, according to national security sources. Jeremy Broadhurst did not confirm that the briefing concerned Han Dong and described it as an information-only conversation. Dong, now the independent MP for the riding, has denied the allegations and previously said CSIS has never spoke to him.
I've never received a phone call from CSIS. I've never made aware that if there is an investigation, whether by CSIS, RCMP, or Elections Canada, pertain to my nomination or my election.
What about the Prime Minister?
That CSIS briefing happened on September 28, 2019, and the Liberal campaign director who was in the meeting told the Prime Minister about it soon after.
I briefed him in a safe manner on the 29th.
Justin Trudeau has been asked numerous times about the CSIS briefing and other allegations about Dong, but he has never confirmed he knew the contents of what CSIS told Liberal Party officials.
It is not up to unelected security officials to dictate to political parties who can or cannot run.
Members of the 2021 Conservative campaign team also testified, calling on the Liberals to introduce new foreign interference legislation. But decisions like that have been left up to the special rapporteur on the issue, Chris. And David Johnston will also decide if there should be a public inquiry into the matter.
Mackenzie Gray in Ottawa, thank you. Allegations of foreign interference are very familiar to people in Taiwan. The Taiwanese say they've been targeted for years by disinformation and interference campaigns from China, and they believe Canada can learn from their experience. Jeff Semple reports on the creative ways the self-governed island democracy is using education and technology to fight back against foreign interference.
These Taiwanese civilians are receiving a crash course in surviving a Chinese military invasion. The classes teach first aid, evacuation planning, and a new addition to the survival course curriculum, debunking disinformation.
We're just now beginning to realize how disinformation could cause severe damage.
The instructors point to the war in Ukraine, where the Kremlin falsely claims to be rescuing Russian speakers from Nazis. This class is taught to question similar claims from Beijing, designed to coerce the Taiwanese to surrender. The Chinese military recently released this animation of what it says an attack on Taiwan would look like.
The CCP propaganda has said they will use 1,000 missiles to bomb the entire island, and then or something like 50,000 ships storming the shore. We explain how that's impossible.
While Canada and other countries have recently been focused on the threat of foreign interference, the Taiwanese say they've been targeted for years and have developed novel ways to fight back.
Here in Taiwan, we have been facing this issue, this
situation for decades.
Freddie Lim's path to politics began on a different stage.
So you were a frontman for a heavy death metal band.
Yeah.
And now you're a politician.
Yeah.
I don't know many of those.
I might be the only one.
For 3 decades, Lim led the heavy metal band Chthonic. But in 2015, he launched his own national party, using his distinct voice to condemn Chinese government intimidation and interference.
Most of the people nowadays focus on the military operations, but the Chinese interference in Taiwan is deeper in the society.
Lim accuses Beijing of covertly supporting Taiwanese politicians, academics, and community groups that want Taiwan to join China. After speaking out, he says his own campaign was targeted.
They try to operate a lot of fake accounts to attack me.
His team found thousands of anonymous online accounts attacking Lim, which were all posting the same messages simultaneously. So Lim sent screenshots of the posts for further investigation to an organization called Doublethink Lab.
You will see that someone had posted a screenshot.
The nonprofit group is one of several launched in Taiwan in recent years, dedicated to debunking disinformation and investigating interference.
Taiwan is kind of ground zero for Chinese disinformation.
This Canadian works as a researcher for Doublethink Lab in Taiwan.
It's quite striking being here in Taiwan, seeing how Taiwanese civil society has really risen up to address the issue.
Another group called MyGopen runs a disinformation chatbot where users can send stories or posts they suspect are fake to a team of fact-checkers.
What did they say this was?
They recently debunked this viral TikTok video, which falsely claimed former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was visiting Taiwan with a fleet of fighter jets and warships, the U.S. threatening war with China. We see a lot of content that originates from mainland China, says the founder of MyGopen. Many of the posts reinforce a similar narrative, says this Canadian who monitors Chinese media from Taiwan.
Trying to portray China in a very positive light, as a stable, strong country, and a part of that also, involves preying upon the divisions and supposed chaos within other countries.
Together, these Taiwanese non-profit, non-governmental organizations are pushing back against foreign interference, providing a playbook for other countries.
All those operations that they have been doing in Taiwan, now they operate the same thing in Canada, in the United States, in Western countries.
Jeff Semple, Global News, Taipei.
Now, Taiwan supplies the vast majority of the world's semiconductors, the electronic chips that power everything from our cars to our computers. So tomorrow we look at the consequences a Chinese invasion could have on the global economy. To the U.S. now, where President Joe Biden is officially announcing his bid for re-election in 2024.
The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer.
Biden made his official pitch to Americans in a 3-minute video asking voters to help him finish the job he started in his first term. Although not a surprise, the announcement does raise some questions over the president's age and fitness for a second term and sets the stage for a possible sequel of the 2020 contest between Trump and Biden. Neetu Garcha reports.
President Joe Biden's bid for re-election framed as a fight against extremism from Republicans.
But around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms.
Advocating for more time to make good on his promise to restore the nation's character.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are.
It was released by video instead of the president being out and among people. The campaign is very much aware that he's under very heavy scrutiny for his age.
This was exactly how he announced his 2020 bid, but his first challenge now may be rallying more enthusiasm and support from his own party, with polls showing a majority of Americans think age is a major factor in why he shouldn't run again.
He spent his entire life, starting when he was elected to the Senate at the age of 29, running for president. He's not going to yield that office unless the voters send him packing or there's a health problem.
Biden will be 82 in 2024. Former President Donald Trump, who turned 77 this year and announced his own re-election bid last fall, is Biden's likely top challenger for the Republicans. He preemptively released a statement Monday claiming he'd win in a rematch against Biden.
I have no doubt that we will together win the election of 2024 and make America great again.
He's going to have lots of trouble in the next coming year with all the different indictments.
In his first public appearance since announcing his re-election, Biden touted job growth in a speech to building trades union members. He's set to run again on the same themes that boosted his party in the past, like preserving access to abortion.
That's why I'm running for re-election.
But Biden's bid, prominently featuring Vice President Kamala Harris, comes as he battles low approval ratings.
Neetu, Canadians love to watch U.S. politics. How are people reacting to today's announcement?
Chris, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is welcoming the announcement. He called it great news when asked by reporters on Parliament Hill. He said Biden is the type of leader needed not only by the U.S., but by the world. The president visited Ottawa last month when he addressed Parliament, saying the U.S. will have no more reliable ally than Canada. Chris?
Neetu Garcha in Washington. Thanks, Neetu. A fragile 72-hour ceasefire in Sudan is offering a narrow window of opportunity for people trying to flee the violence there. MPs will hold an emergency debate tonight in the House of Commons over the deepening crisis. Canada says it's preparing for airlifts. There are also 2 military vessels standing by off Sudan's coast.
What we are trying to do as a government is to assist anyone and everyone who has requested assistance.
Canada is defending its evacuation plan, rejecting suggestions it's falling behind its allies. But critics point out the slow response is the result of decades of underspending on defense. Mike Drolet reports.
Facing intense criticism over its slow response to the Sudanese crisis, Britain on Tuesday launched a large-scale evacuation of its trapped citizens. With a 72-hour ceasefire tenuously in place, the race is on to get out of Sudan. By all accounts, there are no safe spots left in Khartoum.
But then our house was hit by a missile. And the missile didn't go off. It just went through the roof, and we think it's still there in the house. So that became no longer a safe option. We had to move out.
Like Britain, Canada has been criticized for its slow response. The Canadian government reports it has been in contact with 1,700 Canadians in Sudan. Of those, 550 have requested assistance and 100 have left the country, but none via Canadian military planes. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says Canada has assets in the region. They just can't find anywhere safe to land.
There's very limited places where those airlifts can happen from.
When asked about Canada's lackluster plan, Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly says the crisis took them by surprise. As a result, Canada has had to rely on its allies, notably Germany, France, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia for air support.
We can't just land any old plane in this theater of operations. We need the capability that comes with those assets as well.
International affairs expert Anne Fitzgerald says Canada's lack of military readiness is a result of decades of financial and political neglect.
This is not a storm that's going to go away easily. This will arise again and again and again.
For now, Canadians looking to leave Sudan are hoping for another helping hand. Mike Drolet, Global News, Toronto.
At least 2 people are dead and 10 others injured after a missile strike on a museum in the Ukrainian city of Kupiansk. Rescue workers dug through the rubble of the local history museum to retrieve the bodies. The Ukrainian government says it was hit by a Russian missile. Local officials stress there are no military facilities near the museum and accused Russia of deliberately hitting civilian targets to terrorize the local population. Russia has denied targeting civilians in its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. So long, Saddle Dome. Just ahead, what's replacing Calgary's aging hockey arena? The Calgary skyline is about to undergo a big change. The city's reached a deal for $900 million in government funding to replace the aging Saddle Dome. The arena will anchor the culture and entertainment district in the city's downtown. An earlier deal collapsed in 2021 when the Flames walked away over rising costs. The Saddle Dome was built in 1983. It's one of the oldest in the league. There is no timeline for completion. The Canadian astronaut and 3 American crewmates who will become the first to circle the moon in more than 50 years were recognized in the House of Commons today.
Mission Specialist, Canadian Jeremy Hansen. Commander Reed.
Jeremy Hansen and his crewmates were announced as the Artemis II crew earlier this month. They are scheduled for launch late next year. And while no one will actually land on the moon during this mission, NASA wants to attempt a 2-person lunar landing as early as 2025. Trip of a lifetime. Next, the rare diagnosis inspiring a Canadian family to go on a world tour. A Quebec family is back in Canada after spending 12 months traveling the globe. The goal was to collect visual memories because 3 of the 4 children have a rare condition that is slowly robbing them of their eyesight. The diagnosis was a nightmare, but as Mike Armstrong shows us, it led to a dream trip.
After a year away, unpacking the suitcases was the easy part. Unpacking the house is the big challenge.
We lent the house to some friends. So we packed everything and now we're unpacking.
Well, the Pelletier-Lemay family, all 6 of them, arrived back in Canada April 19th. Back from a year collecting. Everywhere they went to a lot of places, they were gathering and saving experiences.
The first goal was to fill my kids' visual memory. That was the goal, just to show them beautiful things.
Now, the trip was kind of a reaction to some terrible news. In 2018, their daughter Mia was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. It's a rare genetic condition that over time causes blindness. When that diagnosis came in, Edith Lemay and Sébastien Pelletier knew 2 of their sons had the same symptoms.
We knew, we were hoping it wouldn't turn positive for them, but deep down we knew. So, of course, it was devastating.
One of the specialists told the couple to try to give their children memories. Show them pictures in books, show them elephants and giraffes in the zoo. Well, they decided instead to go, as they put it, all in. It also wasn't just about seeing things, but having experiences.
Meeting people, discovering cultures, and really discover different ways of living. You know, over and above the visual memories that they got, I think they got a great human experience altogether.
The family visited 13 countries, including Oman, Indonesia, Turkey, and Tanzania. The parents gave their children the trip of a lifetime, and memories meant to last that long. Things to remember when they can't see. But there was also a lesson passed down. Pelletier and Lemay showed their children strength and how to face a challenge head on and together. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
And that is Global National for this Tuesday night. I'm Chris Galis. Tonight's Your Canada is the Adam and Eve Rocks in Buckhorn, Ontario. Thanks very much for watching. Donna Friesen will be back at the anchor desk tomorrow. Hope you have a great evening.